I remembered this like a couple weeks ago, and I had like this like epiphany moment. And I was like, oh my god, that was when I decided that I wanted to do it. But it's actually really embarrassing. It was an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where he like has his like little guitar with like lasers on it, and he's
Yeah.
singing "I'm a goofy goober rock," and it's like a Twisted Sister song.
Welcome to It's All a Dream with me, Nathersonn. Today I'm joined by Sophie Lloyd. Sophie, if you want to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are and what it is you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophie Lloyd. I am a guitarist. I do a lot across like social medias, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that. And I also play guitar currently for Machine Gun Kelly in his touring band.
That's amazing. So, I mean, I've known you for probably about a year now, but I've followed your journey for a lot longer.
Oh,
And
thanks.
I know that when we spoke, I know that anytime we have spoke, you've always been heavily guitar driven, even in school. You was
Yeah.
always musically driven. So was it always your dream to be a guitarist or in that music industry?
Like I'd always loved it growing up. But because I'd never really grew up around like other musicians and people who kind of did that type of thing. So it always kind of felt like just that. It just kind of felt like a dream. And I didn't know anyone in the industry. It was, so far removed from what I was used to, because I grew up in quite like a small town where there wasn't even like really jam nights or anything. It was, that kind of vibe. So I actually didn't study music until I got to university. I grew up doing a lot of like science stuff. So I wanted to be a forensic scientist and work with like
Amazing.
blood splatter and like DNA analysis. And I actually got a scholarship to go to uni to study that at Sussex University. But like a week before I was meant to go, like I'd always played guitar like alongside everything, but again it just kind of felt like a loose dream. But a week before that I was just like, do you know what, I want to like give this a go while I can, and while I'm sort of younger and stuff, I want to just give that kind of dream a chance. And yeah, then I sort of went to BIM, and it sort of became a more viable career path for me. And yeah, I don't know, it was never really like an intention. It's just sort of ended, things have just kind of ended up how they've ended up, and it's amazing.
No, that's cool. So obviously you said that it was always that sort of like that loose dream and or probably an unrealistic dream in some sense that
Mm.
is it's always been there, but it's never been achievable because it's one of the things like how do you even get there? Like I get
Yeah,
that. So
exactly. And like no one was like encouraging of it. Like I remember at school, my when we were like all writing our personal statements to like go to sixth form and stuff, the teachers were like, right, for this you need to forget all of your dreams of being like a rock star or whatever. And the whole class looked at me and I was like, oh damn it. And they wouldn't let me. When I was at sixth form, they were like discussing university options with you, and you have like a sort of chat with your like mentor. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking about doing music. And they flat were just like, no. They were like, no, you're not going to do that. I was like, okay, I guess I'll do science then. So it was like, it was never kind of something that was encouraged in school. Luckily, my parents have always been really supportive and kind of pushed me to do it. So yeah.
shout out to your parents. I know they're great people.
Yeah,
So
they're pretty cool.
what inspired the dream to either play music and invest so heavily in it? Because obviously I play music but not necessarily invested to the point where I'm like I'm going to do this daily. So what really inspired that dream for you?
I think it was a bunch of things. Like the first time I kind of I remembered this like a couple weeks ago, and I had like this like epiphany moment. And I was like, oh my god, that was when I decided that I wanted to do it. But it's actually really embarrassing. It was an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where he like has his like little guitar with like lasers on it, and he's
Yeah.
singing "I'm a goofy goober rock," and it's like a Twisted Sister song.
Yeah.
It was that. I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! Like, I want to do that."
Is that when the
So
brass band come out as well? They're in the dome.
yeah, that one as well in
Yeah.
that like little glass dome.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, my mind was just blown. Like it looked so fucking cool. So that was actually like everyone else has really cool stories about what inspired them, but mine was literally fucking SpongeBob. But yeah, that sort of kicked off like the thing, oh like that would be really cool, that's the thing I want to do. And then sort of throughout school, like I said, I would always kind of I would just always play guitar when I was home. Like I was never like, you know, the popular kid or whatever. I was always sort of a bit of an outcast and stuff. So I, you know, would have like just a lot of free time at home. I would always just kind of just for like something to do, I guess, would just sort of play guitar. And I loved that type of music. Because, you know, my dad was really into like classic rock and stuff growing up. So I was exposed to that for a while. So yeah, I guess just like having a lot of free time and stuff, I would want to do that like at sort of lunches and at breaks at school and stuff. I would always go to the music rooms and kind of play, and I just always thought it was so cool. Like I just thought these people were just so amazing and cool, like looking at them. Like it was so embarrassing. I used to like write like fan fiction as well about like different bands. Like I was invested in this like band scene. So yeah, like I've always kind of loved that kind of scene and that thing. I always thought it was really cool, but it never felt like something viable kind of for me until now, really.
That's cool. So obviously you mentioned about how you started when you was in school and you obviously played when you was younger. So how old was you when you would say that you roughly discovered that it was more of like a dream than it was a passion or a hobby?
Yeah.
Because I know obviously you started to climb on to like that influencer ladder early on through like
Yeah.
Instagram. But yeah, how
Yeah.
old was you when you roughly like discovered it was a dream?
Like I started playing guitar when I was thinking about like 9 years old. I feel like I always give a different age because I'm not really sure, but I was between like 9 and 11. Um, and it was sort of like something I do for fun. And then I stopped doing it for like a while. I sort of played on off up until I was about 15. I'd say when I was kind of 15, 16, when I got kind of pretty heavy into like rock music and emo music and, you know, that sort of scene that
Yeah.
I really kind of went full force into it. And, you know, I never like plans to be an influencer because when I started like posting on YouTube and stuff, it was very much like YouTube wasn't really like a thing. Like you couldn't make money from it. It was just like a kind of video sharing site that you know, people would just post whatever on. So I started it initially as like a kind of way to just track my progress to kind of see how far I was getting. And like most of my uploads I would actually upload to Facebook. So I'd upload a bunch of videos to Facebook first, and then I remember one got like 500 likes and I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm famous. No pictures, please. But yeah, and then it's sort of just throughout uni, I had to keep kind of uploading the various videos and stuff on YouTube, just random things I would come up with. And then like sort of midway through uni, I started writing my first EP, Delusions. And funnily enough, that when I released that Delusions song, I did like a music video for it and stuff. That was what just kind of blew up, and it got some like 2 million views or something in just like a couple of months. And that was sort of the first time I was like, oh fuck. And that's when I sort of got like a decent like check from YouTube as well. And I was like, oh my God, this could actually be like a sort of viable income and career path for me, is like doing this sort of stuff online. Like that was kind of the moment where I think I was like, that's what I want to do. And then when I left uni, I pretty much went full force into it.
So just roughly how old was that at like the uni stage?
How old am I now? That was probably when I was about 19, 20, when I was like sort of at uni kind of
Yeah.
doing the videos. And then I left uni, I think when I was like 22-ish. And
Yeah.
that's sort of when I started doing it kind of full time, more or less.
So you obviously really loved classic rock. You mentioned about your parents being a huge um motivation factor, I guess you'd say. So who was some of your idols? That can either be like personal ones, so like, you know, your mum. I know she's a great character, and that and so that could either be like personal or business, even like Prince or something like that, or Stevie Ray.
Yeah.
Who was some of your idols?
There's like there's a lot of people like sort of musical wise. Well, the first you mentioned Prince, the first concert I went to see was Prince. At the O2, which was like an amazing first concert, really inspiring. He had all his like guitars on stage, which was really cool. Um, Another one was Orianthi growing up, who was the female guitarist for like Michael Jackson, and
Okay.
she was like a big inspiration to me because she was sort of the first kind of girl I'd seen proper like shredding and stuff. So I thought she was awesome. And then like Van Halen was massive influence, Guns N' Roses, Pantera as well, and then a lot of like punk stuff, like Rancid, Offspring, Bad Religion, Anti-Flag. Like I had a lot of sort of different genres, and then the more modern rock, like Avenged Sevenfold. I loved Sinister Gates. I loved My Chemical Romance. Like those sorts of things. And in like personal life, yeah, like you said, like my parents have always been such a amazing rock for me there, which I think a lot of people kind of don't have sometimes in like the music scene. Like I'm so lucky that they were so supportive, and when I did change my mind from wanting to be a fucking scientist to a rock star, they were like yeah, go do it. Like they were excited about it. And like my dad would always drive me to band practice and just sit in the car for like 3 hours doing his crosswords while I would go and like play some shitty emo music in like a smelly room. So it's like they've always kind of been there to like support me. And the same with my mum, she'd always be there like front stage, any of my stupid gigs at like the youth church or whatever. I'd play my gigs, my mum would be there like crying in the front row. So like having that support has been so helpful. And like they're definitely big inspirations for me, and a lot of stuff I do is kind of for them in a sense. Like that's why I first wrote Delusions, was originally for a Christmas present for my mum and dad. And then it sort of grew into something bigger, but they've always been like a big inspiration for me.
That's amazing. Just so then you've achieved a lot, not
Thanks.
just in social, but like even where you are now, and going from playing, I believe the story was that you played in front of like 30 people in a pub the day before, like 2 days before you flew out to go sell out
Yeah.
Madison Square Gardens and Cleveland Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that was so weird.
so you've obviously achieved a lot. You've gone from one end of the scale to the other. How did you achieve such great success? So
Oh, well,
would you say
thank
it was
you.
through social media? Would you say it was through being consistent?
Yeah, I'd say definitely social media has kind of been my like building a platform, because I've had kind of a non-traditional entrance to the music world, I guess, and I feel like a lot of people are nowadays like getting into it through online stuff because it's such a good way to connect. So and that's kind of where Cal's and his team kind of found me, was through Instagram. Um and that's where he kind of reached out to me. So it's all kind of been online. So I'd say building that profile, and like you say, sort of being consistent with posts, having like a kind of unique selling point, whether, because I do like my shred versions a lot. Also, I'm quite lucky, I am kind of a girl, so it's automatically kind of like got a unique selling point there for some people. And it's just sort of building up that platform, building an audience, showing that I can, do all this stuff myself is like was really important. And then they kind of found me through there.
Let's say because you've built quite a big personal brand in yourself for the name of Sophie Lloyd. Do you know what I mean? There are quite a few influencer guitarists out there that are female, but you are one of the top. Do you know what I mean? Like if you was to ask anybody,
Thanks.
like name top three, I know your name's coming up. So
Oh,
I,
thank
I
you.
I definitely agree. It's like your personal brand as such has been an incredible growth as well. I mean, it's growing daily with the content that you put out, and it does just get
Mm.
better.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That's cool. So so you've done a lot, and just one question, and it's quite cool. I mean, the first gig you ever went to was Prince. I want to say that was, I'm going to say 2013, but I want to say 2008. One of them two ring a bell. What?
uh I want to say 2008, because it was definitely when I was like under 10.
Yeah, so 2008, that's insane that you was under 10 in 2008, but um
Oh
2008,
wait, no, I
you
wasn't. That was 2008. No, wait, no, that's a lie. I would have been 13. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, I was about 13. I thought I was younger.
okay,
Maybe I
so
wasn't.
you went to go watch Prince play Wembley in 2008, and then what 2022 you stepped on Wembley stage to play a sold out show
Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
in your home.
Sorry, my
Like,
cats.
you know, you're absolutely fine. My son keeps knocking on the window, waving at me. Um, so you've obviously done a lot. So what has been your proudest moment? Because you've had a full page feature in Classic Rock magazine, which
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
crazy.
that you read growing
Oh
up.
yeah, all the time, all the time. It's
You know,
crazy. I think I had a
and
subscription for it.
exactly, you know, you've stood on some of UK's most iconic stages, and still
Yeah.
yet to come up. You've got another one. So what would you say your proudest moment has been in your career?
I'd say, yeah, it's definitely been like a lot in like the kind of last year. I'd say one of them was the Cleveland show at the end of the US run of the MGK dates. That was like a really proud moment for me because it was such like a, even though I haven't been in that camp long, that venue meant so much to like them as a band, like because that's where like they all grew up in Cleveland. And the fact it was a fucking like stadium, it was like this legendary stadium right next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like it was like such a kind of, it felt like such an iconic location that literally all of us went there, and we went the day before to kind of do our sound check, and we all just like burst out crying, and like all of us were just like in tears, and like the gig was just so amazing. Like I remember this one really special moment that night where Kels brought a bunch of kids up on stage, and this one girl just like ignored Kels completely and booted it straight to me, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool, like to see like that kind of fan interaction there, and like the impact I'm having was such a beautiful moment. And then like when the show was over and we'd like done the after parties and stuff, we were going back to the hotel and we were like, should we just go and sleep at the stadium? And we all went to the stadium, and it was like 4 a.m. and we were just like sitting there and we were like, this is a dumb idea. Let's go back to the hotel. But like we were all like so proud that we like all of us like wanted to like go and again that was so weird because it was like Avril Lavigne was there, not like I idolized Avril Lavigne, and there I am sitting in this fucking empty stadium with her, and like it was just so wild, like those kind of experiences like that where you kind of look back and be like, wow, if like my younger self could see me now. And then Wembley was another really amazing one because that's the one kind of where all of my like childhood friends came, who I felt like never really kind of got the music thing, if that makes sense. It was very different, they're all kind of psychologists and accountants, and like they've taken that sort of route. So I think I was always kind of, they never really kind of understood it. And then after that, someone captured it on video as well. Like there's this like really nice moment where all the girls like come running up to me, giving me hugs, and I'm like crying, and they're like, we get it now. Like, we're so sorry we weren't more support. Like it was like just such a cool moment for like to have that kind of moment with the girls there. And it's, yeah, those were probably like my two moments where I was like, wow, that's so fucking cool. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So then, just last question, really is if there's anybody watching or listening to this that wants to follow in your footsteps, to doesn't necessarily have to be a touring musician, but just as successful as you are on social media, or even just a better guitar player, what advice would you offer them? And
I'd
yeah,
say, well, there's a few things. Sorry, I'm such a rambler and like just talking your ears off. But I would say definitely like in nowadays social media and stuff is such an important thing. So do put yourself out there on that, whether you want to or not. I know some people find it a bit cringe. Some people find it a bit embarrassing, but like it's so important to have that profile there. Like just so it's kind of like think of it as your like online CV or online portfolio, so that people who are looking for acts, you can immediately just point them like, here's all my videos, here's everything I've done. So sort of look at it like that, and try and find something in that separates you apart from the crowd. Like for example, like I have my shred versions. Maybe do something weird on TikTok, play guitar in like public places or something. I don't know, like something kind of unique that separates you out from the crowd. And and just keep pushing, stay consistent with it, be prepared to do quite a bit of like, you know, I did YouTube for about 4 years without seeing a single check and not really expecting it. Like, do it for the love of it. Don't do it because you think it's like a kind of easy route or whatever, because it's not. So definitely build up those profiles. Another one is like make connections where you can and learn from people who you're with. And that's thing I sort of started doing slightly later on in my career, because earlier on I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really know many musicians. But later on, like sort of recently, in the Machine Gun Kelly band, the other guitarist, Justin Lyons, he's learned.
He's a guest on this, by the way.
Is he? Oh, he's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. He's got so much knowledge on everything, and just like learning from him, he's like taught me about just the simple things like timing and stuff, and how to sort of really kind of stay on the beat. It's like little things. Like I've been learning so much from all of these people, and like try and get out there, have live experience, because that stuff, like, you know, stuff that you'll never learn in your bedroom, if you know what I mean, like that you should bring, you know, 2 leads in case one doesn't work, or like something like that, or how to change a string quickly if it snaps in mid-show. Just little things like that are important. And also just like stay true to yourself, play what you like, don't feel like you need to kind of fit into anyone's box or whatever. Like, you know, just stay passionate about what you're doing, because I've definitely had moments where I've slipped and lost my I don't know, like motivation, I guess, for it, and been like, oh, is it really worth it, blah blah blah. But like, just stick at it. If you have a day like that, play what you're good at, play songs that you like, you know, and then when you're feeling good again, then you can start trying to learn new things and doing that again. There's amazing online courses as well, like True Fire are really good, and then just YouTube tutorials as well, to kind of get your playing game up where you want it to be. But yeah, just stick at it. That's all you need to do. Stick at it, and just be a good person as well. Like, don't be a dickhead, because no one wants to work with a dickhead, you know. Like, make sure you show up on time, do the job, do all the preparation you can, and just like kill it and show them what you can do.
Amazing. So that's pretty much all of it. Last thing I'd say is just, if anybody wanted to find you, support you and stuff like that, where can they find you? Where can they support you? If you just want to give your channels and
Little
like
shout out,
Spotify.
shameless
Yeah,
plug.
yeah.
Well,
Go for it.
yeah, if you would like to support me, I would be very grateful. I have a YouTube channel, which is just Sophie Lloyd, Instagram Sophie Guitar _ and TikTok Sophie Guitar _. I've got an album coming out this year called Imposter Syndrome, which will be coming out in September. We have singles dropping every month on Spotify, and music videos on my YouTube channel, with photographs taken by the lovely podcast host that you have today. And yeah, I hope to see some of you guys over there.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining me today. And that
No
wraps
worries.
it
Thank
all
you so
up.
much for having me. Thank you for having me. I've had such a good time. It's nice chatting with you.
No, it's been a pleasure.